The Democrat Party is absolutely doomed. We got a poll from CNN, several polls from CNN that I want to check out with you guys. And obviously, it is CNN, so we got to keep that in mind. I'm sure they cooked the numbers a little bit. In my humble opinion, they always do. So even with them cooking the numbers, the Democrat Party is absolutely cooked. They're done. But more importantly, I want to get into a Democrat leader's response when being confronted on these numbers. But before we get into that, let's get into these poll numbers because they aren't looking good. And if CNN is reporting on this, on numbers this bad, then they're even worse than what they're reporting on. So with that being said, let's dive in.
And this morning, we have a brand new CNN poll that shows what voters are thinking about both parties. David Chalian joins me here at the Magic Wall to take us through this poll. So, David, what are the key takeaways?
Yeah, this is where we left off on election night 2024, but we wanted to get a sense of where Americans are right now. And one key trend we're looking at here, Manu, is should the government do more or is the government trying to do too much? 58% in our new poll of Americans now say the government should do more. That is a 30-year high that we have seen. So what's driving that? Why are so many fewer Americans saying that the government is trying to do too much? Well, as you might imagine, we're seeing that movement among Republicans who are in charge of all aspects of government right now. Look at this huge drop. From August of 23, 73% of Republicans said the government was doing too much. That was when Joe Biden was president. Now it's down to 57%. But we also see this decrease in those saying government's doing too much among independents as well. We also wanted to test where the country stood with the parties on various issues, okay? Crime and policing is by far and away the Republicans' best advantage. R plus 13 now, R plus 14 a couple years ago. But look at the economy and immigration, two key Trump issues. You see, it's still a Republican advantage. But you see that advantage is narrowing on both of those key issues. This gets to what Amy was saying, I think, about some of the anxiety people have about the economy over the tariffs that we were talking about. A dead tie on world affairs and where the Democrats have the edge, education, abortion, and climate change. We also took a look at some key attributes. This is how Americans sort of see the parties. Which party is better described as the party with strong leaders? Look at this.
Wow.
16% of Americans say Democrats, 40% say that of the Republican Party. Now, overall, no party's doing great. Lots of Americans say neither of these qualities apply to either party. But look at how much worse off the Democrats are. A party that gets things done. Only 19% of Americans say that about the Democrats. 36% say it about the Republicans. In fact, the only place that the Democrats are numerically ahead, party of the middle class, this is basically a tie, though.
Yeah.
34% say that of Democrats, 32% say that of Republicans. But this, I think, is the most fascinating. How do partisans talk about their own party? Right? So among Democrats and Democratic leaners, 32% say Democrats are the party with strong leaders. I mean, of their own kind, right? 82% of Republican leaders say that about the GOP. Only 41% of Democrats say they're the party that gets things done of their own kind. And I will just say, 51%, Manu, a majority of Democratic and Democratic leaners say neither party gets the party that gets things done attribute. Imagine that's the project that Democrats are working on.
Yeah. I think the reason why Republicans say the party has strong leaders is because of one man and one man only, and that's Uncle Trump. Okay? Because if we want to talk about John Thune, Senator Thune, who's the Republican leader in the Senate, if we want to talk about Mike Johnson, who's the Speaker of the House. I drew a blank there for a second. I couldn't think of what the title was. Speaker of the House. I don't see them as great leaders. I don't see those two individuals specifically as people who get things done. And that's okay, right? That's okay. Because I know some of y'all are like, wait, Rich, what? That's okay. Why is it okay? Because we got something called primaries, okay? And for me, I'm always going to encourage people and push people to get out and participate in primaries and off-year elections. I'm not going to be one of these individuals, and I don't, for the life of me, I don't understand why there are some Republicans, not many, but there are some prominent Republicans, or so-called Republican influencers, whatever, who are talking about, well, Republicans are going to get voters to not show up. I don't get even saying stuff like that. If anything, we should be encouraging people to show up more, because that is, in my mind, that's what the Uniparty wants. They want to piss off Republican voters so that we don't show up to midterms and to primaries, so that they can so that they can continue to do what it is that they've been doing, which is rhinos business, right? But if we do show up in mass, if we do show up and show, hey, listen, you're not going to discourage us from showing up, so you better do what you're supposed to do, or you're getting voted out, then now what do we have, right? We have a completely different party, a party that is in line with Uncle Trump, the guy that we voted for, the guy who we set up, we put a mandate out for, right? That's just my line of thinking. Y'all can let me know if you agree, disagree, why not. But I don't see anything good that could come out of simply not showing up because we have some rhinos. If anything, things will only get worse because we keep the rhinos in, and in the midterms, Democrats win. Which now you got rhinos and Democrats with the House who hold the House now because we didn't show up in the midterms. And we kept the rhinos in. So, like, how do you think that's going to end? Like, common sense tells you, well, it's not going to end pretty, right? So, show up in the midterms, show up in off-year elections, show up so we primary these individuals. Like I said before, Ken Paxton is running against John Cornyn in Texas. From the polls, it looks like John Cornyn is going to lose. So, there's one rhino on his way out. Susan Collins is up for re-election in the midterms. We can get her up out of there, up in Maine. Who else? Lindsey Graham, where is he from? South Carolina or is it North Carolina? One of the two, one of the Carolinas. Lindsey Graham, his poll numbers look absolutely terrible. I don't know if anybody's actually running against him, but I saw a poll where a majority of Republicans in whatever Carolina state that he's in are saying they're not voting for him. Okay, so if there's an opponent for him in Carolina, please type him in the comment section, and I will put his name out there because get rid of Lindsey Graham too. Get rid of Lindsey Graham, get rid of Susan Collins, get rid of John Cornyn, and there's others as well. So get out and vote, man. Don't be discouraged. This is not the time for that.
Yeah, and beyond the issues here, there's some structural problems with the Democrats as well.
There are. And again, this is where we ended up on election night in 2024. This is by county. Obviously, these were the results. But what I want to show you on this next map is we have this amazing opportunity. Donald Trump, a candidate 3 times in a row, to look at.
That is an absolute sea of red by county. Individual counties, and you can kind of see it if you look really closely, the white lines to separate the different counties. But look how much red there is on this map. Look how much red. I mean, an absolute sea of red. And you got these little bitty blotches of blue in terms of counties that voted for Democrats. Over here, you got a pretty good blotch right there, but looking pretty good, man. Looking pretty good.
At those 3 successive elections. And take a look here among the shifts that we saw across the country. Everywhere you see red here is a place that Donald Trump improved his performance from 16 to 20 to 24. Now, he lost some of these counties. He didn't win all of them. But you see how much more red there is than blue. Places where, Clinton did better than Obama, Biden did better than Clinton, and Harris improved on that. Far fewer places in America than when Donald Trump increased his vote share over those 3 successive presidential elections, Manu.
Yeah, there's a lot to chew on there, David.
The entire country, just about, is shifting to the right. And I saw an even worse map than that. And I've actually shown you guys that map, the map with the arrows pointing to the right, the red arrows. The bigger the arrow, the more the shift. Because I think this entire country is shifting more towards common sense. Right? I don't think it's wrong to say that a guy shouldn't be competing against a woman. I think that's just common sense. We're obviously built differently. You know, it's just common sense to me. You know, it really is. But let's get into Hakeem Pregnant Paws Jeffries and his response to some of these bad poll numbers with Dana Bash. Check it out.
I want to ask you about something that happened in your home state of New York. In the past couple of days, Congressman Jerry Nadler said that DHS agents entered his congressional office on Wednesday without a warrant and handcuffed a member of his staff. This, of course, comes after the Trump Justice Department charged Democratic Congresswoman LaMonica McIver with obstructing ICE agents after an altercation at a facility in Newark, New Jersey. Now,
good. This is the thing. Democrats sit here and say, nobody's above the law. But I guarantee you Hakeem Jeffries is getting ready to cry about it. And they have been crying about it, right? Well, you better not do anything. I tell you, but they were just screaming nobody is above the law when Uncle Trump was being put through trial after trial after trial after trial, right? Nobody's above the law, but all of a sudden, when it comes to them, Letitia James, the congresswoman who's was arrested, the aide that was arrested, all of that nobody's above the law stuff goes right out the window. And I haven't even talked about Nancy Pelosi, who, I don't think it's I don't think we're stretching here when we say she's definitely insider trading. There's no way on a salary of less than $200,000, which that's good money, right? Don't get me wrong. But there's no way on that type of salary you amass a net worth of over $200 million. Explain that to me. Explain it. Like, if you make one coincidental a trade, right, where you make buku bucks, all right, cool. You know, maybe you just hit it just right. But if you're making trade after trade after trade after trade after trade after trade where you're making buku bucks, come on now. If it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck. You know what I mean? But let's continue.
I know you previously warned that the administration charging members of Congress was a, quote, red line. What are you doing now that the red line you talked about has apparently been crossed?
Well, let me make clear that the House is a separate and co-equal branch of government, the Congress. We don't work for Donald Trump. We don't work for the administration. We don't work for Elon Musk. We work for the American people. And we have a responsibility to serve as a check and balance on an out-of-control executive branch. That's the constitutional blueprint that was given to us by the framers of the United States democracy that we have inherited over the last few centuries. And so we're going to continue to undertake our congressional responsibility, notwithstanding efforts by the Trump administration to try to intimidate Democrats. It's unfortunate that our Republican colleagues continue to be nothing more than rubber stamps for Trump's reckless and extreme agenda. And the American people, I think, will ultimately reject that next year when we will take back control of the House of Representatives. In the meantime, in terms of how we will respond to what Trump and the administration has endeavored to do, we will make that decision in a time, place, and manner of our choosing, but the response will be continuous, and it will meet the moment that is required.
What exactly?
Bro, he is like the textbook definition of politician. You know what I mean? When people talk about, man, I hate politicians because they always give you that political spiel, right? He is the textbook definition, bro. That answer sounded like it was written, rehearsed, and rehearsed all over again. Oh, my goodness. Anyway.
What exactly does that mean? Have you not decided how to respond?
We've publicly responded in a variety of different ways. We haven't let our foot off the gas pedal in terms of additional things that may take place with respect to our congressional oversight authority and capacity. We will respond in a time, place, and manner of our choosing if this continues to happen.
You believe, as Jerry Nadler said, that the administration is trying to intimidate Democrats?
I think the administration is clearly trying to intimidate Democrats in the same way that they're trying to intimidate the country. This whole shock and awe strategy, this flood the zone with outrageous behavior that they've tried to unleash on the American people during the first few months of the Trump administration is all designed to create the appearance of inevitability. But Donald Trump has learned an important lesson. The American people aren't interested in bending the knee to a wannabe king. It's the reason why Donald Trump actually is the most unpopular president at this point of a presidency in American history. The American people have rejected this approach. And we as...
No, actually, the reason why is because there's a nonstop loop 24/7 of coverage from our mainstream media that Trump is bad and everything that Trump does is absolutely terrible. That's why. And yet, you still lost to him in November. Just want to remind you, Hakeem, you lost. Even with nonstop 24/7 coverage. Trump bad, Trump bad, Trump dictator, Trump dictator, Trump wants to be the king. Even though he was already president once before and he left office, so what are we even talking about here? Like, he might have slightly of a point if Trump had never been president, but He's already been president. And you can say whatever you want. Well, he fought it in the courts. He did this, did that. What's the bottom line? The bottom line is when it came time to leave the White House, he left. Simple. Come on now. What are we talking about, man?
Congressional Democrats will continue to reject this approach.
Mr. Leader, you brought up polls, so let me tell you about a new one that just came out here at CNN this morning. It shows that only 19% of Americans say that your party can get things done. 36 say the same about Republicans. And just 16% say your party has strong leaders. It's pretty rough, and you are one of those leaders. How do you turn that around?
Yeah, we don't have the presidency right now, so that's always going to be challenging a few months after a presidential election. But we have to continue to make the case, one, that Democrats, of course, are the party that is determined to make life more affordable for everyday Americans, for hardworking American taxpayers, that we believe that we need to lower the high cost of living, which for decades has been going up while the size of the middle class has been going down. So understandably, there's real frustration amongst the American people. They should be frustrated.
But they're frustrated with you as well, with Democrats as well.
Of course, they're frustrated with the system. But what is interesting, Dana, I think you're aware of this, every single...
Okay, he's about to get into some nonsense, these special elections that happened because Democrats won a few of them recently. Okay. Kudos, whoop-de-doo. Check out your poll numbers. Even from people who carry your water, the poll numbers are bad. The polls that they're putting out regarding your party are absolutely terrible. So what are we even talking about? And as far as, Trump goes, this is going to be the worst time of his presidency. He's trying to get things on the right track, and that involves shaking things up. I mean, duh. So if you can't beat him in the polls now, what do you think is going to happen after all these tariffs are done? They've all been settled. He's negotiated everything. Now he can focus on Putin and Ukraine and that whole situation. He can get that settled. He can settle the whole Israel, war, and get that settled. Get that knocked out the way. What do you think is going to happen once all this stuff just... You think your poll number's still going to be that good? Your poll numbers are going to be in the toilet. People are tired of hearing this political nonsense, rehearsed speeches and even that, bro, we're done with it. We're done with it. And it's nobody's fault except for their own. They can get up there and do the whole, like I said, the Democrat speak. Oh, we need to lower the cost for Americans. Were you concerned about that when you had the presidency just, I don't know, what was that, 6 months ago? Were you concerned with that? Because the prices were rising under your leadership and your president or a Democrat president. So where was this concern? Where was all this talk? All they kept saying was, oh no, everything's fine. Everything's good. Everything's peachy. We'll be okay. Now all of a sudden, come on now, bro. I'm so happy they lost. I'm so happy they lost. And to be honest, it's going to be good for America. And that's the bottom line. Because when you have a party like the Democrats have, that is absolutely in shambles. And when they watch a party like the Republican Party continue to get better and better, because we're going to continue to push the rhinos out, right? The Mitch McConnells of the world, the Susan Collins, the John Cornyn's, the Lindsey Grahams, right? Amongst others. As we continue to push these folks out, the Democrat Party is going to be forced to step their game up. They're going to be forced to rethink or retool their entire party. And that's only great for America. Because now we're going to have, eventually we're going to have two parties that genuinely care about America, that put America first. And listen, that's going to be fantastic once Democrats get to that place. Now, do I think they're going to get there anytime soon? No, because their constituents are still, in la-la land somewhere. But eventually they will get there, 1,000%. They're going to have to if they ever want to win again. But that's just my humble opinion on it. Get in the comment section and let me know yours. Thanks for tuning in as always. Peace and love. I'm out.